Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review, and the book review is going to be on The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Ugine. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his last name, but yeah, The Virgin Suicides is about 5 sisters who commit suicide. This book is narrated by a bunch of boys who have been very curious about these girls because of how sheltered they were, and it kind of shows their point of view on what happened. This whole story is very gripping. He knows how to write something very powerfully and just very honestly. There is no answers about suicide. Like, you may find an answer to why that person may have committed suicide, but that answer is always going to be a sort of what if that was not the right answer kind of a deal. So what I appreciated by this author's writing was that it was gripping. It kept you into the story very well. I loved that it was the boy's point of view. I think that the girl's point of view, it could have become a little bit too heavy, too dark for people to want to read. But with the boys' point of view, it kept it a little bit lighter. You had these boys who were on the dirty side, I would say, but I think that's just normal for their age. Also, they were pretty amusing. They're just like, oh, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and it's just like, really? You're going to do that? Where's your logic in that? But in that sense, you know that these are just pretty much kids who are just, you know, not really know what they're doing kind of thing, you know. But there is always a serious tone, and it wasn't really comical. Like, I didn't find nothing really funny about this, and that was one of the things that I was kind of wondering from the very beginning was, how is this book going to be really funny? Because it's dealing with the subject of suicide. This subject is not something that you can make light of, really. I just don't feel like it would be appropriate to do. So I really appreciated the fact that he didn't do that. Like, he didn't try to make light of it, or he didn't try to make a joke out of something that had to do with this. But the whole story is about how the first sister commits suicide, and the possibility that after, I think it was like a year, the rest did commit suicide also, and that whole, did their suicides have something to do with her suicide? Like, did it affect them some way? Like, did that suicide poison them to the point that they went and decided to commit suicide? Or was this a pact? Or was it, you know, or was it not connected at all? Like, where was the logic in all this? And I appreciate for this book is that it asks those questions. It asks the why question, and it keeps you wondering, thinking, pondering that after you've read this, why did these girls do this? Why do people commit suicide? What is their logic behind it? And can you ever really know the answer to these? And you could have to think about your stand on suicide also, and try to understand their point of view in this. And so you do not get a clear answer, and I think that I appreciate that from this book, because if he did give you an answer, that would him saying that every suicide is going to have this clear-cut thing, and that's never going to happen. No suicide is clear-cut, and it doesn't give you a concrete answer. You're just always going to wonder, I think, on certain things when it comes to suicide. Sure, that person's going to leave you, might leave you a note and tell you why they did it and all that stuff. Does that really give you satisfaction, or does that really give you the answer? Because for all we know, that person, you know, kind of smoothing it to the point that you're just like, you get the surface answer, but you never get the deeper answer. So, you know, it's just, suicide is never clear cut. It's never in a pretty wrapped up box. You're just never gonna get a clear answer. And so if you're like one of those people who want answers from their books all the time, you just cannot leave a book with questions of your own, this is probably not the book for you. It's also not a book for you if you are expecting to have some kind of comical factor in it, because there is not much of a comical factor in it at all. It's a very serious subject and a very serious book. So I really enjoyed the questioning part of this. This is very, it leaves you with this question, like, where do you stand with suicide? Where do you stand with these girls? Like, what do you believe is the reason for committing suicide? I mean, I have my belief of why these girls did it, but, you know, how am I to be no for sure? So it's just that we're all going to have our points of view, and that's what I really appreciate, is that he doesn't give you those answers. You have to kind of decide for yourself what your answer is. As the characters, the boys, it wasn't like, I don't know how to say this, it's like not like you got to really know them, but you got to know them in this experience, in their time through this. You got to know their, not know them per se, but know their thought process, what they were seeing and all that. So you didn't really get to know them as a person, as a singular person, as an individual. You just kind of, you know, there was no one person. You couldn't tell one boy from the other, really. Do you understand that was not his purpose? So his purpose was to focus on these girls and what these boys were seeing, so he didn't feel that need to do that. And I agree, there was none. It was about the story in a whole, so there wasn't really much of a character development, I would say, but you did get to know the girls to an extent. You got to understand the way their lives were being led, what was happening to them, how their parents were handling the situation, and how strict or how not strict they were. So I would say that the whole storyline, the plot, everything was really well done. You got the full picture. You got an understanding of these kids. You knew what was happening very well, and the pacing was superb. And I really liked how he introduced this story and kind of shocked you into it, you know. It's just like, we're just gonna jump right into the deep end, and that's that. So there was nothing, no gentle tiptoeing to it, you know. It was very just step right into it kind of thing. And I appreciated his honesty. I appreciated the ability to just say what he was trying to say, and that was that kind of a deal. So I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I really appreciated how he handled the subject. He was respectful, he was honest. I highly recommend this book. It was wonderful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my take on this book, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!